Alright, now I'd like to talk a little bit about rounding and significant figures. Rounding in high school and college science is slightly more complicated than it was in third grade. It starts off the same. You look at the digit you want to keep and the digit next to it. If the digit next to it is a 5 or higher, then you add 1 and take the other one away. Okay? If it's a 4 or lower that's next to the digit you want to keep, then you just take it away and you don't add 1. Whenever you have to add 1, that's called rounding up. Whenever you don't add 1, you just take away, that's called rounding down. Hopefully we're clear on that terminology now. In science, we don't tell you to round to the nearest 1, or to the nearest 10, or to the nearest 100, or to the thousands place, or to the tenths or hundredths. We don't tell you which place to round. We tell you how many digits we want to keep. And that is very confusing for a lot of people at the start. When we say, I want you to round to the third digit, that means keep 3 digits. All right? So in your science class, your teacher will give you a number, or you'll measure it out. And in this case, we'll say that number is 126.49. Okay, that should be right there. 126.49. They'll tell you to round it to a certain significant figure. In this case, I'm going to ask you to round the 5th significant figure, whatever you think that means. All right? So pause this video, round 126.49 to the 5th significant figure, and then come back and press play. All right, did you pause it? You did it? Okay, good. So 126.49 rounded to the 5th place, you ready for this, is 126.49. I hope you don't feel cheated. 126.49 is already rounded to the 5th place. So you can tell because, or the 5th significant digit. You can tell because it has 5 digits, right? So because it has 5 digits, that means it's already there at the 5th significant figure. If it were 126.491, let's say it were 126.491, then when we rounded to the 5th place, we would round down to 126.49. If it were 126.497, then we'd round up when we rounded to the 5th place. We'd round up to 126.50. That trailing 0 is very important. If you don't understand why you should keep a 0 at the end, then check out my video on trailing zeros, significant figures and trailing zeros. Very important. What I want you to do next is I want you to round that same number, 126.49, round it to the 4th digit. Okay? Pause this video, round that number, and come back and press play. All right, 126.49 rounded to the 4th place is 126.5. All right, hopefully you got that. It's not 126.50 because that would be a 5th place. It's 126.5. We round up because that last 9 is higher than 4. It's a high number. And so we round the 4 up to a 5. Now, rounding 126.49 to the 3rd digit is actually slightly trickier, so I want you to try that right now. Pause the video, round the number, come back, press play. All right, 126.49 rounded to the 3rd place is 126, not 127. Some of you may have guessed that. Because last time we rounded to the 4th place, right? So if we were rounding to each place individually, we'd go 126.49, 126.5, and because 0.5 is a high digit, it's higher than 4, then you'd round up to 127. But that's not how we do it. We're rounding to the 3rd place, right? The 3rd significant figure. So we look at the 3rd digit, that's 126, that's the 6. And then we look at whatever comes after that. Whatever comes after that is a 4, okay? And 4 is a low digit, so we round down. We take it away, and we don't add anything to the 6. Okay. So now, Can you guess what it would be if we rounded 126.49 to the second digit? Go ahead, press pause, figure it out, come back, press play. All right, 126.49 rounded to the second significant figure is 130. Not 120, because 6 is a high digit. It's not a low digit. So we round up to 130. Notice that 130 could be pretty far from 126.49, depending on whether or not that last 3.5 was really very important. Of course, it could be close enough for whatever you're doing. Now I want you to round to one significant figure. 126.49, round it to one significant figure. Ready? Press pause, figure it out, come back, press play. 126.49 rounded to one significant figure is 100. Right? Because that's 2 is a very low digit, right? So we round down to 100. If it were 156, then we'd round up to 200. Now that's pretty imprecise. Notice that 126.49 is pretty far from 100. Hopefully, when you measure things, you measure them more precisely than one significant figure. All right, and if you don't understand what that means, I'm going to make a video on measuring and how significant figures is important when you measure. All right, if you'd like to see more quick science explanations from a guy in a lab coat, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. And if you found this explanation helpful, like this video. If you don't understand something and it's not in my other videos and you don't think it'll help to watch this video again, then go ahead and comment right below here and I will get back to you, or one of my other viewers might be able to answer your question for you as well. Again, like always, if there's something else you want to see, put it in the comments and maybe I'll do a video on it soon.